In an industry stuffed with marketing bullshit, empty promises, and shiny-suited liars, one woman's had enough. She knows what it's like to have the wrong clients, no money, and no time for fun. But she also knows how to fix it. And on the Business for Superheroes show, she promises to tell the down and dirty truth about business, sales, and running away with the circus. Here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
To the Business for Superheroes show. I'm Vicky Fraser, and this week I'm joined again by Joe. Hurrah!
Hello.
Hello. You're right.
Yeah, you sound like a bit weird.
Well, you always tell me that I'm like this crazed, demented shrieker when I announce the podcast, so I thought I'd attempt something different this week.
Okay. Let's try something different again next week.
Okay, clowns.
Whatever. Okay, yeah.
Hello. So last week I was interviewing Dom, which was really cool. I got loads of good feedback about that.
Cool.
So Dom was a bit of a hit. But this week, Joe's fans will be happy to note that Joe is back. And this podcast is brought to you by the remains of yesterday's Pinot Grigio.
That's not enough, is it? It's not enough.
Why?
It's only a small amount of wine.
Well, no, it's plenty for a Monday night.
Not sure it's enough for a podcast.
Yeah.
People expect.
Expect what?
Kind of drunken, rambling stuff.
We're never drunk when we do the podcast.
No, we're not.
We're not. Don't look at me like that. Okay, so anyway, we've just been wandering around the garden because the chickens are hiding their eggs.
It's kind of the point of having chickens, isn't it? Is to get some eggs.
Yeah.
They're starting hiding them under hedgerows and down the back of trees. And
we need to get ROI on these chickens.
Yeah.
And we have been getting amazing ROI on them. And they're comedy gold as well, so they're kind of, the value is not just in the eggs that they produce.
However, the value is somewhat to do with the eggs they produce.
Yeah, and they're now hiding their eggs, and I've looked, obviously not everywhere because we've got a ridiculously large amount of land out there, but I have looked in all of the places where I know that they've kind of looked at and gone, oh, that might be a nice place for eggs.
It's not that the land is ridiculously large, it's that the land is ridiculously overgrown and out of control.
It's still quite large.
It's quite large.
So, and also we've been watching dragonflies in the garden, haven't we?
Dragonflies, that's a new one.
Yeah.
They're cool.
Yeah, big. I think they're emperor dragonflies because they're big green ones. And they were dancing. I don't know whether they were dancing because sexy times or dancing because they were doing territory dances or what. I don't really know that much about dragonflies.
But it was, well, I didn't see any sexy times.
But I did have to pick up Whiskey because she nearly batted one out of the sky. And the chickens had a go as well. So it's just like, I don't really want dragonflies killing because they're amazing. And I don't know where Noodle the podcat is. He was here a moment ago. When he heard there was a podcast going on, he came in. And now he's disappeared. So anyway, today we're going to be talking about working for free because Bobby, who listens to the podcast, hi Bobby.
Hi Bobby.
And is on my email list and has my book and all the rest of it. She saw an article in New Statesman and she sent it to me and asked me what I thought. And I thought rather than just reply to her or write an email about it, it'd actually make a really good topic for a podcast.
Okay.
So that is what we are doing. Stephen Hull is editor-in-chief of the Huffington Post UK. And earlier this year, in February, I think, Steve Hewlett from the Radio 4 media show, which is a pretty good show, interviewed him and asked him why he doesn't pay his writers. And his answer, hilariously, was this. You read it because you've got a man voice.
I've got a man voice. Okay. So this is me being Stephen Hull, editor-in-chief of Huffington Post.
And I'll be Steve Hewlett.
Okay.
So, Stephen, why don't you pay your writers?
I love this question. If I was paying someone to write something because I want it to get advertising, that's not a real authentic way of presenting copy. When somebody writes something for us, we know it's real. We know they want to write it. It's not been forced or paid for. I think that's something to be proud of.
I think that's a big steaming pile of bullshit.
Hang on, you've just stopped being Stephen again, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm being mean.
That was you.
Yeah, I'm not accusing Steve Hewlett of swearing on air because I'm sure he didn't. It's far more professional than I am. But that's like it's bullshit because it's just ridiculous because It was said by a man who has literally made a career out of being paid to write and edit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just crap. And
suggesting other people should just write and edit for the funds.
yeah, and we'll talk a bit more about that later. There's two different issues here because I really like the Huffington Post. I think it's a really good news outlet and it aggregates news really well. And I've recently been accepted as a blogger on there, and it's unpaid.
And you've published blogs on there.
I have, and it's unpaid. And I knew perfectly well that I wasn't going to get paid for it. I'm doing it out of choice because it's good for me to practice for a start. And they've got a massive audience. So I want to see if it can help me reach more people and build my email list.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a bit of an
do
experiment.
you get a chance to link back to your own stuff and all that?
Yeah, they'll let you promote whatever the hell you want.
Okay, cool.
So, and a lot of places won't let you do that. You know, if you're a guest blogger, you have to be really careful about, what you do and how you do it. But that's blogging. And they can't pay all their bloggers because they've got hundreds of people asking them to, blog and all the rest of it. And so, they can't pay them. They choose not to, and it's their choice. They're a business. But the journalists, they do pay.
Right.
So they've got paid staff.
Just not bloggers.
And the bloggers know this. And there was a big hoo-ha, and a whole bunch of bloggers tried to take the HuffPost to court a few years ago, I think, because...
That's not going to work, surely.
Well, no, it didn't. It got chucked out. And the thing is, I can kind of see both sides of this because, we're writers are a group of people who are constantly asked to write for free for exposure, and that is bullshit. But the Huffington Post... Are you all right there?
Just a yawn caught up with me there. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are we boring you? The Huffington Post business model and platform is that is what it is. It is what it is. And when you sign up to blog for them, you know what it is. So, that's... I'm kind of, But his answer is bullshit because they should just be like, well, that's our business model. We've got paid staff, and then we've got loads of people who want to blog for us because they know we've got a fucking massive platform.
Yeah, and people are doing it for their own reasons.
Yeah, but he chose to go down the pretentious wanker route and say, when somebody writes something for us, we know it's real and we know that. That's just nonsense because that's just like, okay, you know what? So when he buys music, I guess he must think that music is completely inauthentic because those greedy bastard musicians wanting to be paid for it, and
Selfish.
artists.
Selfish.
Inauthentic art if you're paying for it. So presumably he gets all his art for free and he never eats in a restaurant, I wouldn't think, because, the chefs are creating inauthentic food. It's like bullshit.
It is. I disagree.
So yeah, that was that. But it did the whole thing got me thinking about working for free. You're right.
I'm good.
You can't see right now. I wish I had taken a photo, but Joe's got that stifling a yawn face. When it becomes all stretched like one of those weird morphing programs.
It's my face.
It's not your usual face. Maybe we should do a video podcast or something.
Oh God, no.
Why? Oh man, I've got something in my eye. That's why we shouldn't do a video podcast.
That's why we shouldn't do a video podcast, yeah.
Anyway, I have no problem with the Huffington Post business model because nobody's being coerced, but I do have a problem. Oh my God, stop it.
I can't help it. I don't know what's going on. You need to breathe more.
This is really bad.
I need to
Joe.
breathe more.
People are not paying to listen to this.
Oh, God.
So
I'm doing a refund.
Yeah, well, you can do the refund. Okay, so I've got no problem with the Huffington Post business model.
No problem with the Huffington Post business model.
I've got a problem with Stephen Hall's answer because it was twatty.
It was quite bullshitty.
But I do have a problem with people asking for stuff for free, which a lot of copywriters, designers, artists, and performers get all of the time. And it's just ridiculous because, it's about the exposure.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because the Huffington Post has a massive audience, which is potentially very good for people like me.
Yes.
And that's why I'm trying it out. See if it works. But some twat's tin pot little business isn't going to give us any exposure. So when someone asks you to work for free, unless it's like... No, in fact, no. If they ask you to work for free, moon them.
Yeah.
Because that's exposure for them. If they tell you it's for exposure, just, pull your pants down and wave your butt at them.
That's definitely exposure. Do you remember that guy who wanted to pay you in chips?
Yeah, that was funny. This is like way back at the beginning of my freelancing career.
Funny.
He was funny. And I also found, he stiffed loads of people.
Yeah, he was a dick.
He was a bit of a dick. And also, he never paid Charlie for a tin of paint.
That's bad.
That's
a
actually
legitimate
stealing.
shop like 3 doors up.
I know. So, yeah, anyway. But there's kind of... The reason I wanted to do this podcast today is there's loads of people talking about this kind of working for free stuff at the moment. And it kind of makes me laugh and roll my eyes at the same time. Because on the one hand, you've just got... I don't know, you've just got these asshats saying, come and work for free for the exposure, man. And, it's art and you should be blah, blah, blah. And then you've got other people, you've got writers who are like really struggling.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to say no to stuff. And I'll come to that in a minute. But I saw a post on Facebook.
Well, do you think you're speaking from a position of privilege at this point? Because sure, your fees are quite high now, and you're known, and people come to you, and it's all good. But right back at the start, if I don't know, somebody with an audience of bazillions said, "Would you like to write a little thing for me, or come on my podcast, or
no. See, that's
offer some advice to my peeps."
There's a difference, but I'm not talking about guest blogging or coming on podcasts, because that's slightly different. I will happily go on anybody's podcast who asks me. Hello, people, if you want me to come on your podcast, I will happily do so. I will be interviewed for...
Selected people, not just anybody.
Well, if I like you.
Yeah, that's basically the criteria.
Yeah. And I'll happily be interviewed for whatever. I've been interviewed for people before for their paid membership groups. I'll happily give an interview, and I'll do that for nothing, because that's good for me.
Yes.
As well as for them. And I will guest blog for people. And if it's somebody with a massive blog, then I'm absolutely up for that. I'm totally up for guest blogging. But what is not on is people asking for sales copy for free.
Right.
There's a difference. It's like, it's like say Virgin Airlines coming to you and saying, "Oh, we need a brochure. Can you do it for free? It'll be really good exposure for you. It'll look really good on your CV." And it's like, no, do one. There's a total difference between that. And yes, I'm probably there are going to be people out there sort of thinking, well, you are speaking from a position of privilege. Your business is doing really well and all the rest of it. But I can remember very, very vividly what it was like to have no money and no clients and all the rest of it. And one thing that I worked for really crappy pay, but I never ever worked for free because I didn't, because it's rubbish, because you end up...
It is morally wrong.
It is morally, and it creates really bad feeling as well. Now, there are alternatives to that, and I'll come to that in a minute, but I wanted to kind of, run through a couple of things first. Because the thing that kind of got me thinking about this was I saw a post on Facebook by a chap called Dan Meredith, who is a really successful copywriter and entrepreneur, and he kind of jets off around the world, and he's pretty cool dude, and I'm one of the people who admires what he's done and how he does it and all the rest of it. And he posted on Facebook today about he'd nearly lost his temper, because Monday mornings are his time and he just has that for himself. It's like I do on Wednesdays. Wednesdays are my days. And he'd just constant Skype or phone calls or texts or something from people just going, "Oh mate, can you just do this for me? And can you do this? And can I have this? And blah blah blah." And the way he put it was, "I want this and you should give it to me because I want it."
Yeah.
And that kind of thing is completely unacceptable. It's really rude. And it just kind of makes me gasp in, I don't know, the kind of brass-fronted...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Can you imagine just going into a shop and saying, "I would like a free haircut because I want one, and I think I deserve it."
Yeah. "This looks like a nice hairdressing shop. I would like it.
Yes.
I would like some free things."
Yeah. And it's like, and they don't even say please or thank you half the time. It's like, and Dan's a nice guy and he does quite a lot of stuff for people for free, because that's the kind of guy he is. But I think he just had enough today, because it had just got to the point where it's like, I want your stuff because I deserve it. It's like this entitlement attitude, which seems to be prevalent throughout life these days. People want stuff handed to them on a plate.
Yes. Give me things.
Give me things. So yeah, they haven't earned it. They've given no value. They haven't even asked nicely half the time. And I get the odd person like that as well. It's like, It's quite funny. So yeah, there you go. That's kind of what got me thinking. And some people I will happily give a little help to, and there are people who I will give help to, and I answer every email I receive, usually to point people in the direction of where they can get more help. But some people are just like really, really rude, and they just get nothing from me. I mean, they'll get a reply, and it's usually fairly polite because I'm not one of these people who's kind of like, fuck you, because I think I like to be nice.
Be nice.
Yeah. But and I never ever give away stuff that other people are paying for.
Yes.
Because that's just not cricket at all.
Yeah.
But I will point people in the direction of help. I will, if I've got free resources, I will happily give them away. I'll give a little bit of advice by email. Absolutely happy to do that. But I'm certainly not going to do, You're
not going to sit down and write sales pages and websites and
oh, good Lord, no.
Copy and
I'm not going to give the kind of advice that people in my inner circle are paying for.
No.
Because it's not fair to them.
No, absolutely.
Which is reasonable. So, and I hate it when friends ask me for favours as well.
It depends what that favour is for me. I find if somebody says, what I need is some engineering, then the answer is no. But if somebody says, I could really do with some help building a wall in my garden or mowing the lawn or bashing some trees down or something, I think that's all right.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Because that's weekend fun.
Yeah, no, weekend fun is fine. I now I sound like a really awful person. No, I meant when friends ask me for favours to do with what I do for a living with my business.
It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's like, oh, can you just help me out with the words on my website? I think actually it's a massive overstep of boundaries. Massive, because it just leaves me feeling like shit. Because you can't say no without feeling like the worst person in the world. And if you say yes, you'll resent them. Mm-hmm. And it's even worse.
And then they don't value it.
And they don't value it as well. And you don't do as good a job because it's not a priority for you because you're not being paid for it. And quite often you don't even get a decent thank you for it. And that just makes you feel even worse. And they don't value what you do, like you said, because you've basically told them it's worthless because you're going to do it for free for them. And that's not to say that I've never kind of looked at what friends have done with their websites and said, you know what, there's a few ways that you could improve this. But what I won't do is sit down and write the whole thing for them because it's just not fair. I would never dream of asking a friend to, one of my really good friends, Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Is a talented artist, and I asked her to do a logo for me ages ago. There's no way I would have said to her, "Oh, can you just do me a logo?" I was like, "How much will you charge me to do me a logo?" And that was the way I couched it because I absolutely didn't want her to think, "Oh my God, she's asking for a favour. What a bitch!"
Yeah.
Because that's just I wouldn't put someone in that position. So that doesn't mean that I don't offer to help people sometimes for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, it's very different from being asked, though, isn't it?
Very different from being asked. So, yeah, don't ever ask your friends to do you favours with relation to their business because it's not fair.
Your business or theirs. Your
business or theirs. It's just not fair. If you want a service, you pay for it. And, you might get lucky and they might give you mates rates, but don't expect it. So, yeah, it sucks. It sucks. It's the same with kind of free samples and writing tests and pitches. It's all bullshit. It's like, would you go to a hairdresser and say, "Ooh, I think you look all right, but would you mind just cutting half of my hair to see if it's up to scratch, or cutting my fringe to see if I think you're good enough?" Can you imagine going into a restaurant? It's like, oh, I don't know. I don't
just
know
have the starter and decide whether I'm going to buy the main or not.
Exactly. Can you imagine? It's just, and people don't think of it as being like that. Or it's like plumbing or
If you just do the downstairs, I might bring you back and pay you for the upstairs.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Exactly. And it just makes it, and when you say it like that, it seems so obvious, but so many people look at the more creative side of things and think it's acceptable.
Yeah.
And we make it worse because we play along with this stuff as well. So we go along and we spend, days working on a pitch, and we go and pitch with 3 other companies and
I've got a feeling a crazy neighbour is about to walk up to our front door with a machete.
Oh. Cool.
He's a lunatic. Hang on a second. So that was indeed Tim, the ex-military loon.
Who drinks in the pub over the road from us.
Who drinks in the pub over the road. I was talking about gardening yesterday with him, and I said my machete, because we're hacking back nettles and brambles and all sorts of nonsense. And I told him it was the first time in years I'd had an opportunity to use my machete.
We have a machete.
Machete. He used to be the camping machete, but kind of got a bit risky carrying a machete around on a motorbike.
That's not a euphemism for anything. We actually did. Sometimes I had the machete, sometimes Joe had the machete. If there are any police officers listening to this, we don't do that anymore, and we never did it at all. It's just a story.
We had legitimate use. We were wild camping in woods and stuff.
Yeah.
Anywho, I said my machete was a bit crap, and he said, I'll sharpen that up for you. And I said, okay. So I nipped home from the pub, grabbed my machete, took it back to the pub, gave it to Tim, and he's just brought it back today. Yeah. Nicely sharp.
And actually, this story is a beautiful illustration of not asking for favours and having people offer you stuff. Because we would never have said to him, can you sharpen our machete for us?
That would have been mental.
Partly because it's mental, but also because, we don't like asking for favours, do we?
No.
But he offered, and that's really cool. And he's offered without any expectation of payment, but he knows that we'll buy him a couple of pints.
Clearly.
Because that's the way things work. We might make some. He was on about plum wine. We could make some plum wine.
Oh, we can get him a bottle of plum gin or something, couldn't we?
We could. So yeah. So that was kind of, offering to help people for a variety of reasons. And where did we get to before the knock on the door?
I don't know.
Oh, pitches and half a meal before you decide to pay for the rest of it. So anyway. So, and my absolute favourite. Please write this stuff for me. I can't pay you, but it'll be great because when it's really successful and my business has grown loads, there'll be loads more work for you down the line. Which is awesome because I get to take all of the risk and he gets to take none of the risk. And my answer to that is, shoo.
Yes.
Shoo, off with you.
Go on about your business, sir.
Yes.
Get off my doorstep and fuck off.
Yeah. And again, it's kind of like, I think these people are sociopaths. They must be because...
Well, you've met a few.
I have met a few. Because normal people do not think that that's reasonable behaviour.
No.
Well, I don't know, maybe people are just really clueless.
Well, or they're just out to take advantage of people.
Also, I don't know.
They're either clueless or they're manipulative thieves.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Sociopath. Yeah. If there's anybody listening who thinks that is a reasonable thing to do, then it's not. Consider this the education that you've been lacking and gaps in upbringing and I don't know what the hell. But anyway.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it. So having said that, all of that, I do, like you said earlier, I am aware that people are struggling and that when you first start out, it can be really tough and it can be really tempting, to take stuff when it comes along for the exposure. I'm doing air quotes right now because I'm being that person. But so here's what I advise about working for free. Don't do it ever. No, I'm just kidding. There are times when you can work for free and there are times when I've done it and when I do it again.
Right. When? What?
Okay. So for quid pro quo.
Okay.
I am very much in favour of bartering my services if it suits me and if it suits them. For example, if the guy who's building my new website offered to do it in return for me doing a bunch of copywriting for him or for one of his clients, I would absolutely do it. No problem.
Okay.
Because that's an exchange of services. It's a bartering thing.
Is that in? I mean, I'm not sure about this, but is it entirely legal?
I have no idea.
Are not the both of you just avoiding tax?
Well, no. Well, no, not well. That's not the reason that I do it.
No, absolutely. But is that?
I don't know. Actually, it's an interesting question. Okay, I am in no way advising you to do this. Just to cover my ass here.
Any tax lawyers out there, let us know.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. Let us know. Because I am absolutely not doing it to avoid tax, but what I am doing it for is to avoid a big lump of cash coming out of my cash flow, which I can kind of barter. So it's not about tax. And, if I would happily calculate it and pay the tax difference. Well, not happily, I'd do it. I'd do it with a scowl. But I don't want to be kind of flouting the law, and that's not why I'm doing it. Which I think is a different show, and I might have to get a tax lawyer on to talk about this kind of thing.
Is it possible? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I could interview David.
Hi, David.
I don't know if he listens.
Well, you should do.
Anyway, but that's one of the situations where I would.
Yeah.
I barter my services. As long as you both treat each other like normal clients.
Yes.
It has to be kind of a professional, as if you're paying each other.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it gets pushed to the back of the queue and it becomes mates rates bullshit, and it just becomes, it has to be treated as if you were exchanging money for it.
Okay.
So that's the first situation. Second situation, pro bono work for charity.
Uh-huh.
I have happily done free work for charities before, and I would do so in the future for charities that I like.
Because it's the right thing to do.
Got no problem with doing that at all. And I usually say, I want to be able to use this in my portfolio, and they've almost never got a problem with that because they're getting it for free. So if you are doing this stuff for free for a charity, always ask if you can use it, make sure that you can use it in your portfolio and all the rest of it, because, you should get something out of it apart from, the warm fuzzy glow. And thirdly, I would do it as a gift to a friend or a family member.
Okay.
So it's probably a little bit more difficult for me, but like maybe a CV or a cover letter for a birthday present, for example.
Okay.
Or if you're a designer, wedding invitations as a wedding gift is a really good
Yeah, if you're a cake maker, make your son or daughter a cake.
Yeah, if you're a wedding dress designer like Bobby, I'm sure she would do a wedding dress for her daughter. I can't imagine,
Yes.
If her daughter wanted that.
Yes.
If she has a daughter, I don't know if she does. I'm rambling now. But yeah, that's number 3. And number 4, if it's fun for me, if it's something that I really want to do for myself,
then you'll just crack on.
I will just crack on, because then it's not work, like the Huffington Post blogs. But I probably wouldn't do actual paid for, stuff that I would charge other people a lot of money, I wouldn't do for free.
Yes, okay.
But, stuff that is for my business, for building it for my own fun,
You'll do that.
I'll do that for free, yeah.
Okay.
So those are the 4 situations. And I don't know I was thinking, are there any more situations where I'd work for free? No, I don't think so. Unless you would count the column that I've been offered in the local paper, which is obviously unpaid. But again, what I get out of it is a lot of local businesses reading it.
Yeah, that's advertising, surely.
Yeah, it's PR. Yeah, PR is probably number 5, because PR and editorials are brilliant.
Yeah.
Because they're basically free
and
advertising.
you've done seminars that you haven't been paid for as well, haven't you?
Oh, I have. Yes, that's a really good point. Yeah.
So why did you do those?
For the exposure, I mooned everybody. I'm just kidding. No, for the Chamber of Commerce. I need to join my new local Chamber of Commerce, actually. But I did a copywriting seminar and I did an email marketing seminar. And out of those, I got some of my very best inner circle members.
And some of your very worst clients.
Some of my very worst clients, yeah. The arsehole from Stratford.
Yes.
Who ran a company that has to do with paying people, ironically.
But he didn't seem to want to pay anybody.
No.
Charmer.
Yeah, he's a shitbag. Anyway, but yeah, that's the only times I would work for free. So I hope that's been useful, because that's kind of one of those questions that comes up quite a lot, and I get asked that quite a lot. What should I charge? Should I do this for free? Blah, 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 blah. And it's an important question. And there are times when it's worth your while working for free.
If it's fun, if it's PR, if it's pro bono, or if it's... What was the other one? Quid pro quo.
This one.
That's the one.
Say that really fast 8 times.
No.
Okay. Cool. So that's that, really.
All right. We're 28 minutes in. We should stop.
Well, we're not, because they're going to cut some of it out because you were whiffling around at the door, waving a machete.
Sorry about that.
That's right. So yeah, next week, unless somebody sends me something interesting and I think that would make a good podcast topic, I'd like to talk about USPs.
Cool.
Because it ties in to my event that's coming up in November.
Exciting.
It is really exciting. I sent the first invites out to my inner circle over the weekend, so
Excellent.
they should be getting those either today or tomorrow. And
the website's up.
The website's up. Anybody who's bought a copy of my book will be getting a letter and an invitation this week.
Nice.
In fact, probably on Wednesday.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's really exciting. It's going to be a really cool thing, and it's going to be to do with USPs, and that's all I'm saying for now, except that it's on November the 3rd and 4th.
So pencil it in. Pencil
it in, because it's going to be really, really fucking valuable. It's not going to be a people talking from the front, overloading you with information thing. It's going to be a practical 2-day workshop that you are going to come out with just awesome stuff that you'll have done in the workshop, and then that you can then take away and build on.
You'll know and you'll understand, and you'll...
Yeah, a skill.
Take it away with you.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's going to be a cool thing. And so this week you'll... Oh no, they'll already had it.
Ah!
You've already had it. If you've got my book, you've already had it.
Jeez.
You've already had the letter. So Get yourself a ticket.
Where do they get a ticket?
Oh, yeah, because I can say that now. Okay, so it's, oh my God, you see, it's businessforsuperheroes.com/events/who-are-you.
Go and get a ticket.
Yeah. And I've got one slot left for the introductory offer of Borrow My Brain.
Nice.
Yep. So if you would like to snap up the last one for just £100 plus VAT, which is a fucking bargain, frankly.
It is.
Because everybody who's done it so far has been like, oh my God, you're amazing. And in fact, one lady who did it immediately joined my inner circle afterwards and then sent me the most amazing box of beautiful gifts.
That was great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really
Actually,
lovely.
it made me cry. I'm going to put a video together for my daily email at some point this week where I'm going to open the box
Yeah,
and
it
show
should
what
be.
she did. So thank you, Jane. That
Hi,
was
Jane.
just ace. And hi to Morag, who is my other newest Inner Circle member, who listened to 10 of these podcasts on the trot and then joined the Inner
Jesus.
Circle. So she's clearly insane.
Yeah, that's a problem. Don't do that.
And yeah, we'll stop rambling. This has been a long one.
Long one. Stop.
Yeah. Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for listening. I love you loads.
Speak to you all soon.
Thanks for being here and helping me out, Joe. I love you loads too.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, public display of affection.
Public display of affection. Awkward.
Bye.
Bye.
Like what you've just heard? Tell your colleagues, tell your friends, send them to www.businessforsuperheroes.com/podcast.